During the summer, I went ahead and bought my brand new dust collector, the Switch 2, or as I'll call it, the Nintendo Switch Pro. Now, it has been doing just that, collecting dust for a while. But what's collected even more dust is the original Switch that I bought way back when it came out in 2017. Now, what am I supposed to do with this original Switch 1? I already have one at school. I got the idea. Let's try to hook up to an old CRT TV so we can use it regularly. Now, will that work? I have this. Let's go find out. Most of the games we play on Switch are already compatible with Switch 2, so we really don't need this here anymore, except for like a very few small instances of using the controllers. I decided let's go over the retro area because this is going to be quickly becoming a retro console, and let's hook it up somewhere on these TVs. Now, the issue I have is my son right now is playing Minecraft on this TV on the Xbox 360. My daughter's been playing it on the Nintendo Switch Lite that she has. I want to put the Switch on this CRT over here. First off, if it even works, I'm not sure. And second off, I think it'll be more fun for her to play Minecraft on a bigger screen than it would be on that small screen on the Switch Lite. So what I ended up doing was the following. This TV has component input on it. And if you don't know what component video is, it's really pretty for back in the day. Like it's a very clean, clear picture. Uses three cables instead of one, like that yellow one you probably used to see, to actually put video to the TV. The PlayStation 2, the GameCube, all those systems look great with component video on a CRT TV with component. So I'm hoping that'll work. And the way I'm going to do that is it is a no-name Amazon, off Amazon branded. It's an HDMI to component converter. So I'm hoping I can just plug this thing into the dock, the switch dock, and plug it up to the component switch box that's already hooked up to the TV here. You can see it down over here. And hopefully we should get a video signal. Now, I don't know if I'm going to endorse this by the end of the video or as a good solution. But it does come with things I didn't expect it to. It comes with USB power. It comes with an HDMI cable. The component part of it is built right into it, so that's pretty cool. And you even get a little power brick here, which is not very common when it comes to these USB things. So hopefully this works. And this looks like pretty much every converter box you see on the market. I probably have a dozen of these at this point. But obviously HDMI goes in, and then it goes out to component video here. The thing with component is the colors are a little bit funky and not like terribly hard to understand, but there's two reds. One of them is going to be the stereo sound, and the other one is going to be part of the video signal. And usually they're separated, so yeah. So there you go. This will be over here. This will be audio on that side, and that'll be video over here. So the thing we got to get in addition to all this stuff is a switch dock, which I'm not particularly sure where I put those. I know I have a couple. They're somewhere. Do you know where I put them?
Oh, oh my
Oh,
gosh. Don't tell me they're in
listen,
the bins.
I cleaned.
Not the bins.
I cleaned, so that means they're somewhere. Boy, this is gonna be fun. Well, the only good news is everything's better organized now, so running these wires should not be too much of a pain. And the better part is they came with the wires I needed. So really, this is a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be. I thought I have to be digging out component cables. It already has it built in. So I guess we'll pause for a second here while I go search out for a dock. Then we'll get to working over here. I found my switch dock really easily. It wasn't hard to find. This is heavier than I remember it, but either way, what you're going to see now is kind of a proof of concept. Where am I going to put this if it does work and it looks decent? I don't know. We just made this retro area brand new again, and I think what's going to happen is this controller bin here will most likely move over here. So you have to do some cleaning in the retro area, and I have to do some cleaning in the storage area. There's a whole other topic there, and I'll ramble too much. Let's just focus on this. Well, I'll get down here first. I'm going to unplug my NES here, and then we're going to grab this here. And I probably should run power to everything first before I get too caught up in this. So, who wants to help me run power? What's that? You want to help me run power? Great, sounds good. Off we go. Since this isn't a permanent installation, we're actually just going to go ahead and do a quick proof of concept to see if it works or not. Because I don't know if I'm going to keep this here or where it's going to go when it's all said and done. So I'm not actually going to run the wires like I'm going to run it permanently. I'm just going to run it so I can see if it'll work, which is probably the smart thing to do before I invest a whole lot of time and effort into something that I don't like or does not work. So put that there. Let's check this out here. We have power going to this box, which you need power going to this box. HDMI in. So we have the HDMI going out from the switch dock into this adapter here. And then we have the power going to it. And then we have the switch dock power here. Go ahead and hook that up right there. The fun thing is I don't know if the switch is even charged. I don't think it is. So hopefully we can get some juice on it. I'm going to take this component switcher out here. And I'm going to go ahead and plug it up and make sure I keep those separate. And now we'll just, I mean, that's really it. It's not a complicated process. I just want to see if it works or does anything. Turn on our TV. Now, I don't think our TV is set to color stream. Toshiba called it color stream. Toshiba had really nice TVs back in the day. They had all kinds of different names for their stuff. That's where Toslink comes from for optical audio, or yeah, optical audio. It's Toshiba Link. All right, let's see if this is even on or has any battery to it. It might be one of those, it's so uncharged you have to wait a while.
Mhm.
All right, well, let's turn it on. That's a good sign. Oh, screen flash. So it's when I here watch this. So when I actually click over, you can see it's doing something. That's probably this here letting me know it's alive, and it is on. It's not doing anything now. I saw a Nintendo screen pop up. Let's put it back and see. Oh, well, it wants to do something. What does it want to do? I guess I gotta check to see if it's on. No, so we're gonna have to give it a second to charge. We'll pause the video while this thing's getting enough juice to function, and then we'll come back to it. But it looks like something's there. We have 7% battery, so hopefully that's enough just to kind of see if this works in the first place. It turns out the switch does not like to be turned off for very long periods of time. So I know this looks messy, it's not exactly ideal, but we're going to go ahead and pop this in the dock here, the cradle, and see what happens. Now, something did happen. There's something there. Okay, well, maybe got to change the output resolution. Let's try doing that first. There is something there, though. TV resolution automatic, full range RGB. No, let's do automatic there too. Screen burn-in reduction. We can, I don't know. Let's see what we can do with just automatic, automatic, automatic. Let's see if that does anything. That made it worse somehow. Boy, he really doesn't like that. Let's do a couple things here. These converter boxes get kind of weird, so no, that didn't do it either. So pulling the power didn't work. Sometimes that actually makes a difference. The box itself is warm, I can tell you that. It wants to do something. I don't see why it shouldn't theoretically work. It is powered and it's just going from component to HDMI, so that's kind of strange. It's not doing anything. But this wasn't guaranteed to work at all in the first place, so TV resolution, let's just do 480p and see what happens. That was putting out in 480p. It doesn't seem to be doing anything. I don't think this is going to be working. I'm not sure if there's a way to make this work at all, and I'm going to probably go ahead and say there isn't. But I swear I've seen people play these. And you know what? If I can put a PlayStation 5 on a black and white TV, then there has to be a way to make this work. So we're gonna keep going on this off camera and see if we can figure this out. Well, there's something here, but it's not really working, and I really don't know exactly how to make it work, at least not yet. Now, do I think this very, very cheap HDMI to component converter is going to work? Probably not. It's cheap for a reason. I've seen the same thing a gajillion times on Amazon for a reason. The reason it's not working is most likely because it's a cheap converter. There's probably two or three more steps. When I put a PlayStation 5 on a 12-inch black and white TV that had no ports at all on it, I had to use the antenna splitter, the lead, the UHF, VHF lead on it. I had to buy a few things for that process to work, and I'm assuming I probably need at least one or two things here. First, to get that HDMI signal down to something more recognizable, and then get that to a component signal. I'm not sure exactly what that requires, but I can tell you right now, if you go on Amazon and buy a cheap HDMI to component converter, you'll get something. And it's not that it's not trying at all. And what I'm trying to do isn't really what it's designed for. So I don't think it's an unreasonable thing to say that probably does work, but not for this purpose. You can see we have the Switch. This is the Switch games that it has right now. It's just can't focus itself. There's like the Switch icons, the menu. You have the line down there. You a little bit of stuff you can see here, not much, especially on the camera on this TV, but it's just not working. So did this little adventure work? No. If I want to play the Switch on an old CRT TV, can I do it? I'm sure I can. In fact, I can almost guarantee I can. How do I do that? I'm not exactly certain, but I can tell you this here by itself just doesn't do the trick. Anyways, that was a failure, but hopefully I'll get some reading done, I'll look into it, and in no time I'll have that Switch on this TV and we'll be having a good time with it the old school way. I don't know when that's going to happen, but hopefully you stay tuned to the channel and see what we got going on with this little setup here. I know one day it'll work. I'm just not sure what that day will be. I hope you enjoyed that little look at one of these cheap little converters and how they really don't work as intended. Anyways, we'll see you in the next one.